Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. YSN Live. We have a coach's corner that you are not going to want to miss. A guy who takes over for a state champion team. He was on the coaching staff last year, and now he takes over as the lead dog. The guy on the bill, ladies and gentlemen, a gentleman that has been with us, YSN, for a long time. We've been a fan of for a long time. You've heard his golden pipes right here on the network. This time we bring in the new head coach of the West Branch State Champion Warriors, Ryan Wolf. What's up, Coach? How are you?
Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
Great to see you. First of all, man, it's always great to have you here. The question everybody wants to know: what is it like taking over as the lead dog, the head coach of a returning state championship team?
You know what? It's honestly not that different. Here's the thing: like, our staff is the exact same as it was last year.
Right.
I just became the guy that makes the practice plans and the one that talks to newspapers and the media. And Coach Molinex kind of gets to sit back a little bit and just coach. But like last night, him and I were on the phone for an hour talking about what we were going to do today. Overall, it's a very similar feel. We talk about returning state champions. I mean, we're just a baseball team that works to get better every day. So we know where we can get to. And that's maybe a little bit different. It's not this thing that everybody's looking at and it's a pipe dream. It's something that we can achieve. And I think our guys know that and how they work and the effort they do. But as far as like being the guy in charge, we all work together, and ultimately it's really it's very similar to what it's always been.
Yeah, the difference is now you're the one that the arrows are pointing at, right? So what's that like to know that like your name's on every decision that gets made and your name's on the W&Ls and that's kind of, with the newspapers, like you said, the media is out there. It's kind of you now instead of Coach Molinex. What's that aspect of it like?
I was at Columbiana for 8 years as head coach. So to me, I'm used to a lot of that. The decisions I make that, I own them. The decisions that we make as a staff, I own them. So, I never put it back on anybody else but myself, whether it's win or loss. So, there's going to be people out there wondering especially if we get off to a slow start, or if we have a little bit of a dry spell, what's the reason, and am I the reason? But I don't really listen to that. I know we do the right things every single day. We're trying to create great young men. So as long as we're doing that, everything else will work itself out.
And we loved your time at Columbiana, obviously, but there's a difference to kind of that first gig and second gig. First gig, you're kind of, especially the first couple of years, you're trying to get your feet under you, make sure that you have everything kind of lined up the way you want it. Many people might not know that this is, number one, your second head coaching gig, but also you're the athletic director as well. I mean, to have to wear both of those hats, no pun intended. What are the challenges for you? And maybe is there a sanctuary of being on the diamond sometimes that you don't necessarily have to be at 80 other places in Beloit?
Yeah, absolutely. Being the AD, it's definitely some things come up. We've been at it for 3 weeks now, and some stuff, your days don't go as you plan all the time. When you're in the classroom, you kind of have more of a set schedule. As the AD, I have ideas of things that I want to do, but sometimes we don't quite get to them. Trying to squeeze in what I'm trying to do as a baseball coach while also taking care of all the other coaches. It can be tough sometimes, but I really try to distinguish. I come in really early a lot of times to get work done so I can make sure that I take care of all my other people first before I get to it. But you mentioned it, being out on the diamond is a sanctuary. We kind of can escape a little bit, the day-to-day of everything that's going on, and we can just sit out there. Being at our place is something that's incredibly special. So going out there, whether it's at lunchtime or going out before we scrimmage or before practice, just getting it ready and sitting in the dugout until 8 at night, until we were there Friday until it was so dark there was no other choice just to go.
Wow.
That's just something that I enjoy and we enjoy. So it does kind of get you away. But again, the way I always looked at AD is you're kind of head coach of all the coaches. They're your people, and I want to make sure I take care of them, and but while also taking care of my players and our team. So you got to have a fine line of being able to decipher cut myself off from both jobs.
Yeah, and spring is going to be the hardest time to be an AD with the weather and schedule changes and having to navigate all that. But what kind of a luxury is it to know, like, hey, my baseball schedule is right in front of me. I don't have to contact 3 coaches because I'm one of them. Does that make ADing in the spring a little bit easier?
Well, it's interesting because like the winter this year was kind of crazy. We had a bunch of middle school cancellations. We had to move around a bunch of girls basketball games due to Coach Shields' son playing on a long way and in the national championship for Mount. And the winter coaches asked me, like, hey, great, sorry that you have to do all this. I've been doing it for 8 years. The one thing that about baseball coaches and Northeast Ohio baseball coaches, we are this community and we are always communicating and working on rescheduling and finding games. I got 10 emails today for people looking for scrimmages, over the next few days. We were always in communication. So it wasn't something that's really new. I'm used to it. Erin Heasley, the AD at Columbiana, always kind of gave me that freedom. And she was very open to whatever I wanted to do, wherever we wanted to go and whoever we wanted to play. So those things I was kind of experienced and I've always really enjoyed it. So yeah, the spring can get crazy, but at the same time, it's kind of fun to work that puzzle and move stuff around. And, sometimes you have your schedule and you like your opponents, but then there's somebody else and you're like, ooh, can we go somewhere we've never been? What's that experience going to be like for our kids?
We've talked a lot about expectations. We talked with AP. We talked with Boston. I want to get away from expectations. What has changed since you guys have won the state championship? That people don't realize that, sometimes there's teams on your schedule that want to play you more. Sometimes there are teams on your schedule that want to play you less. Has anything changed more than the schedule? Has anything changed with the community? With how the team is treated, with gym time, things of that nature. Just because you bring home a state championship, there's something to hang your hat on, so to speak.
I mean, the community was great. They were still supplying. We were still doing stuff all the way through the summer. Different things that people would offer us. Hey, like there was a parade, and we went bowling, and dinners, and just indoor golf. Just a lot of people were very into, just kind of showing their thanks. Other than that, things haven't really changed a whole lot. I mean, we rolled right into football season. That really extended our baseball season went into the, mid towards the end of June. And by the time everything was done, it was mid-July. Then we roll into football. We know how great our football program is. And then we roll into basketball. We've had, a lot of success these last few years. So, we make long tournament runs. I think the expectations for all our sports kind of stepped up. Our athletes saw what they can do if they really put the time in, dedicate themselves, and not only it just hasn't changed just baseball. It's kind of changed the mentality of all of West Branch athletics. We always felt that we're great, but we can be the best and we will be the best. So that's the biggest change I've seen, more than just the baseball program. Our kids do a great job of knowing what it takes. And, I heard Anthony talking a little bit about, we're in the gym a lot. We don't have a real good facility. We're in a gym, we're in a parking lot, but taking advantage of that. And then also listening when we do talk sessions, we're in on the board. So when we go out to the field, it's not, we don't have to stand around. We're always constantly moving. So I think that changed a little bit, but I think West Branch Athletics is, unbelievable, and our expectations are high no matter what. So that state championship didn't change it. It just proved it.
As we're talking about changes, I know every year a team is a little bit different. You're adding some new faces and incoming players. You lose some faces, you lose some personalities. In what ways, as a coach, do you see this team a little bit different, or a little bit more of a different personality this year than last year?
Last year we had a group, Coach Molinex has mentioned a whole bunch of times, that had played together since they were like 8 years old. They, whether it was locally or then they started traveling together, and they kind of just knew each other and grew up together. A lot of those kids, those 5 seniors, were all part of that. They're gone. So, that dynamic has changed a little bit, and we're introducing, we got a couple sophomores, a freshman that have a good chance of really helping us on the varsity level. So, kind of introducing them that dynamic, but at the same time, with you just talk, Boston and Perry have been 4-year starters. They've been guys that have been here for a long time. So we have a nice mix of the older players that have been doing this for a long time with the younger players, and the leadership that kind of dynamic is, what is really kind of making us grow. I think our young guys are seeing what it takes to become, the best that they can be, and understanding that they're going to make mistakes. And when they make mistakes, it's okay. And we're just going to work on fixing them. I always tell our kids, if you make a mistake, we're going to coach you. We're not yelling at you. We're coaching you. So sometimes it could be louder than other times, but we're coaching you. So I think that dynamic is a little bit different, but overall, a lot of these kids play together all fall. They play together in the winter. So they know each other, and, they're friends. And they like to be together.
Ryan, one of the greatest appreciations I have for you and have had since I've met you is you've always taken technology and used it as a teacher. No matter where you go, whether it's in the classroom, whether it's on the ball field. What pieces of technology do you think have helped you become a better coach along the way, coming even into this year?
I mean, I watch a lot of video. One thing I love Major League Baseball. So I use the MLB film room all the time. I actually made cut-ups today for something that happened in our scrimmages our scrimmage on Friday. Kind of showed the scenario, the exact same scenario that happened in our scrimmage, and kind of what we did wrong, and showcased it in the major league setting. And because the major leaguers, they do it the best, but it's all the same. The game is the same from our level all the way up. So I really try to use the video. Video in baseball is a little bit different than what you find in other sports, just because the access is so much more limited. We're actually going to we're getting a camera. We're going to, a huddle camera this year, which should be up here in the next week or so, to be able to try to break down our game so our kids can watch their at-bats, but that's something they've never really been able to do before. So I think that can help us moving forward. But, just finding stuff on YouTube and talking to coaches and having them send me different, drills. And, I learn from other people, and I steal from other people, and, people love to showcase. But, that MLB film room, I'm telling you, it's amazing, because it's got stuff way back from the last 8-10 years that you can do cut-ups of. It's great.
DJ brought up your schedule a little bit earlier, and how much teams want to beat you now, and how much of a target that leaves on your back. Who are some teams that pop up this year, outside of the ABC that we all know that you're going to be playing in? Who are some teams that pop up that you're kind of excited about, that you're excited to play and excited to test yourself against, and you want to see where the dice roll when you go on the field?
I love playing teams in the AAC. Boardman, Campfield, Howland, Fitch. We have them all on the schedule. We actually tried Harding. It just didn't work out. They were full at the time. I love playing those teams to kind of showcase where we can be, in that Mahoney County, Trumbull County area, because I think, I have a lot of respect for those teams. Boardman, Campfield, Fitch have done amazing things for a long time. Howland's been very good. So I think in our non-conference schedule, how we play against them, we played them last year, even the year before, and it kind of showcases where we are and, the type of team. We're actually scrimmaging Fitch tomorrow. I think it'll be a good one for us just to see where we are, see our younger kids, see, bigger school with a lot of depth and what they can do. We don't have the Federal League teams on the schedule this year right now, but, I'm always looking to play the best, especially when the rainouts come. So, if that's what happens, we'll go there. But I do know when those rainouts start happening, the teams are going to want to play us are the better teams, and that's what we're looking at. We don't always look at our record, our overall record, especially with 7 divisions now, where you fall. There's 40-some teams in our district. Where you fall because of your overall record isn't as big of a deal as how you're playing when that tournament comes around. So we're going to continue to try to challenge ourselves. We got Mooney and Ursuline at the end of the year too. They're always a good challenge heading into the tournament. So those are teams we're really looking for. We added Keystone this year. Never played them before. They've been a quality program, west side of Cleveland for a long time. So I think that's good. Our kids don't know anything about them, and I love playing games like that where they don't know the opponent doesn't really know us, and we're just going to go out and play baseball knowing that we're going to get the best from them that they have.
All right, naturally, I've got to ask this question. Going into 2025, what do you think is going to be your calling card at the beginning of the season, and will it still be your calling card when the season closes shop for you guys, probably in mid-June?
I mean, it always starts with pitching and defense. Our pitching coaches, Sean Alisas and Gino Sabatini, are unbelievable. We have lost a lot of pitching innings from last year, and they're doing a great job trying to, find guys that can replace that. we're not going to find a Bo Alasas, but we're going to find guys that can eat up innings, whether it's 2 or 3 guys that might end up eating those innings and providing the support. But our pitchers are taught to throw strikes, be in the zone, have command, because the defense behind them is going to be exceptional. And we really, really focus a lot on defense. Coach Molinex was talking today, it's 21 outs. That's what we're always looking for and finding ways to get those 21 outs. So I think that was our calling card last year. Offensively, we were pretty good offensively. But when it came down to the tournament, it was defense and pitching that kept us in those games with clutch hitting. The goal by the end of the year is hopefully our bats have come around a little bit more as the weather warms up. But if we can continue to play pitch and play defense the way that we know we can, it's hard to beat.
When like you said, you're not going to find another Bo Alasas. You lose that arm in the mound. Do you have to have any conversations with your guys like, hey, don't try to be Bo Alasas, be yourself, because they feel the pressure of trying to step into those shoes and try to be that special?
Yeah, I do think kids look at, hey, I want to be like that person. It's okay to want to be like them and have that success, but you can't just jump to it. Bo worked really, really hard to get to where he was. Sometimes guys want to jump the gun in that sense. But, I look at things we talk, you're your own person. You bring a different set of skills and you want to utilize those skills to the best that you can. So we never want to be somebody else. We can mimic their work ethic, mimic some of the other things that they do, but we want to use the skill set that we have. We got guys they're different. They're built different. Bo was 6'6" and real long and worked real fast and had great command of the strike zone. And we want to work to get that. And whether it's 2 guys that get there, it's okay. If it's 3 guys, it's okay. And for our kids to understand that whatever you can provide you can provide on the mound is valuable. And whether that is just a couple innings, it's okay. And be the person that you are and don't try to be somebody else.
Coach, we appreciate you stopping by as always. Always a pleasure to talk to you, whether it's about baseball or anything for that matter. So best of luck to you this year. We'll be rooting for you, certainly. And you're always welcome here, my friend.
Thank you. Really appreciate it. Thanks for having me, guys.
You got it.